up, guys? GangstaPranksta here, bringing you the weekly wrestling review for, I believe, January 12 and 25? I think it's 25. I don't know. It's the last couple weeks in January. It's the weeks leading up to the Royal Rumble. And first up, I want to apologize for not posting this as often as I thought I would be. Some things came up and deterred me from that, so now I am fairly far behind. But I am working my way back to climbing up to the current TV product, so I apologize. But anyways, welcome back to another episode of the Weekly Wrestling Review. On today's show, we got reviews for 2 weeks worth of Raw, Smackdown, Impact, NXT, Ring of Honor, and some TNA pay-per-view. I don't remember. It was like Hardcore Justice 3, I think, and a little bit of wrestling news. So we'll just jump right into the action. I don't expect this to be very long. Since some of this stuff is so dated, we might not even bother talking about it. Plus, there wasn't really that much interesting stuff going on around this time. I'll talk about it as we go, but let's jump into the first episode of Raw. So this is the Raw before Batista debuted. So on this show, we had this was the episode where the New Age Outlaws turn on CM Punk. I don't want to say I saw it coming, but yeah, I understand why they did it. I still don't understand, like, I've kind of kept up with the product up until this point, and like the New Age Outlaws, I thought it was going to be a quick thing, like they were going to do a couple of weeks worth of stuff, but they actually have been on TV for a decent amount of time, and I believe they're still on TV. And then they ended up winning the WWE Tag Team titles. I didn't like that too much. You know, them just coming in and doing some stuff is fine, but them being put in like a full-fledged storyline is not that good. And we'll talk more about the Outlaws later. What else happened on this Raw? This is actually pretty big. Ultimate Warrior was announced as the first WWE Hall of Fame inductee. This is kind of surprising, just because, like, of the relationship of Ultimate Warrior and the WWF. Like, he's had nothing favorable to say about that company. But, like, after he was included in WWE 13, or was it 14? I think it was 2K14 he was included in. You knew that, like, okay, the lines of communication are open between WWE and the Warrior, and that there's a potential for a working relationship there. And apparently it is, because, like, you know, he's part of the game, and now he's part of the Hall of Fame, which is actually a big step, because there's, like, a couple people in the past that you thought would never have done stuff with WWE again, like Bret Hart, Macho Man. Macho Man never really did anything, I believe, up until his death. So he's like the one exception, but like guys like Bret Hart and Eric Bischoff and Ultimate Warrior and some other guys are like you're like they're not coming to WWE. There's no way that like they'll work again or whatever. And it actually happened, so it's actually pretty shocking, and it's pretty cool. It's a big name for the Hall of Fame induction for WrestleMania 30. I don't remember who else is being involved. Who else? All I know is like Mr. T, I think, is in there. I don't remember. I think maybe Lita. Jake the Snake, I think he's in there too. But it's a good little name of people in there, and with with Ultimate Warrior obviously main eventing that Hall of Fame, it's actually pretty good. I can't wait to see his speech. I think everyone's on the same boat as me. Like, what's he gonna say on a live microphone? Oh my god, that's gonna be exciting to watch. And then he had him and Jake Roberts traded words, so like there's obviously heat between the two, so it's gonna be interesting. I can't wait for the Hall of Fame. That's gonna be an interesting show. What else did we have on the show? I kind of want to talk about this. The whole this was building up towards Royal Rumble. They obviously the amazing creative team that WWE has realized, oh my god, we're a couple weeks away from the Royal Rumble. We haven't really done anything with Cena and Orton. We should probably do something to build up that story. Awesome, what should we do? We're in Massachusetts. Let's get Cena's dad involved. Alright, let's have Orton attack Cena and blah blah blah. And then Cena will hate Orton and that will add to the feud. Oh yeah, it's fabulous. And it's like, there is no build-up towards this fucking match within the last 2 weeks. They built this match within 2 weeks with him attacking Cena's dad and then him getting his hands on Orton on the week before. I just thought this was absolutely stupid as shit. You know, they've been building everything else. Daniel Bryan and the Wyatt family. CM Punk and, you know, the Authority. That kind of stuff and some other stuff. The Brock Lesnar Big Show match got more of a spotlight than the WWE title angle, and they've been promoting this thing for months. Like, oh, you're the face of the company, you're the WWE champion, but yeah, we're totally gonna forget about you after we unify the titles. Like, what? I was so completely mind blown. But you know, I think it's like, no one really gave a shit about Orton and Punk, or not Orton and Punk, Orton and Cena again for the umpteenth time. So they were just kind of like, oh, whatever, you know, they have a bad history together, so they will just use that to build up between these guys. And yeah, I don't know, I thought it was pretty shitty. And on this show, we also had the main event, which was the Usos versus Daniel Bryan and Bray Wyatt in a steel cage match. And finally concluded that whole Daniel Bryan Wyatt family thing. Looking back on it now, so the whole story was like Daniel went into the Wyatt family so he could like infiltrate them and see what makes Bray tick and stuff like that, and just kind of see the things behind the scenes, something like that. I don't even really know. Yeah, it's over now. I don't know. This whole, I don't know how I feel about this angle, cause like, okay, you turn Daniel Bryan heel, and then a few weeks later he turns back into a face, and then they have the match at Royal Rumble, and then it's just over. You know, the whole feud doesn't seem complete. In my opinion, it just seemed kind of like, oh, we're gonna do this, and then maybe this week we'll do that, and I don't know, it just seemed like it was all over the place. I didn't really like it, but whatever, it was a good match. Usos win, and then of course after the match, Daniel Bryan turns on Bray Wyatt and leaves the Wyatt family. So, you know, yeah, like I said, I don't know how I feel about the thing. Maybe once I watch the Rumble and the match, I'll be like, okay, that makes more sense. No, I don't think I will, because I don't know. I don't know what the perfect ending to this story would be. Wouldn't it be for Daniel Bryan to kind of beat Bray Wyatt? Or maybe have the Wyatt family beat up Daniel Bryan, then John Cena makes the save, and then that kind of leads into into Bray Wyatt and Cena, and then Daniel Bryan go do whatever else. I really feel like it's just very it's an open-ended feud, I guess. It doesn't really have an ending. So, that was that Raw. Next we have NXT. Nothing really big on this show. The only really big thing was Triple H announced that NXT is going to have a live pay-per-view on the WWE Network sometime in February. And I've heard things from that show that it was good. And, of course, Adrian Neville got crowned as the new NXT champion, so that's pretty big. Can't wait to see that ladder match. And I wonder, what other matches did they have? I think they had, was it Cesaro and Sami Zayn in a 2 out of 3 falls match again, I believe? I don't know. I think they had another 2 out of 3 falls match. I would have liked to seen, like, maybe an hour match, just let them go and like pin each other for an hour. That would have been crazy. Or maybe a half hour or something. Just an Iron Man match. No 2 out of 3 falls match. We're giving them 30 minutes. We're letting them pin each other and submit each other as much as they want. And yeah. That's what I would have done, but yeah. So next we got Impact. I believe this was Genesis Part 1. I didn't even know they were going to make it a two-parter, but whatever. What happened on this show? We had trying to look at the important stuff. We had Madison Rayne win the Knockouts Championship. That's pretty big. The Wolves. This is where the Wolves made their debut. First, I want to talk about their name. I fucking hate it. The Wolves. Like, I don't like it. Like, I feel like they could have come up with something else. Maybe kept the American Wolves. They obviously changed it so they can have the copyright and whatever. But I don't know how I feel about the Wolves name. I think I don't like it. I mean, it's okay, but it could have been like something else, something a little bit better. But yeah, they made their debut, and then Dixie was like, "Oh, you know, I might give you a tryout match, whatever." And they're like, "Oh, the new investor thing." So we'll see what that leads to. Even though we already know it leads to MVP, but we don't know in this situation. And then the main event was EC3 versus Sting. It was a pretty good match. EC3 won, and was this where... No, okay, this is not the match that Sting lost and left. That's happening on the next one. So, whatever, that set up a match between Magnus and Sting for the world title. On the next episode, if Sting lost, he's gone. We'll talk about that in a second. Next, we got Smackdown. I doubt there's anything to talk about here. No. Not really. It was more building up between Punk and the Authority, and you know, they got Kane involved, and Punk called him a sellout and all that stuff. Next we got Ring of Honor, and oh, okay, this was actually a good show. Ring of Honor was around this time was doing I think it was called the Top Prospect Tournaments, I believe, where they take 8 guys from the Indies, and they put them in this tournament, and then the winner will be signed to a Ring of Honor contract. And I believe the last Top Prospect tournament, Matt Taven won, and then he ended up going to be the Ring of Honor TV champion. So on this prospect tournament, we got guys like Ray Rowe, Congo, Corey Hollis, Mike Posey, and some other guys. I forgot who else. There was a guy that I really liked. Was it Ray Rowe? I think it was. I don't know. He's got an interesting look. He looks like a skinhead biker. It's really weird. And he took on Congo, and they had a pretty good match. And then after the match, we had Michael Elgin come out, powerbomb Congo. That was pretty nuts. It wasn't a good powerbomb, but the fact that he got him up was pretty crazy. The main event of this show is Kevin Steen versus Chris Hero. They had a good match. Steen wins. Next, we got TNA One Night Only Hardcore Justice 3. I didn't even know about this. I was just looking at some of the things like, oh, is there a TNA One Night Only? And apparently there was. And so we'll just go through it real quick. First match, Ethan Carter III versus Tommy Dreamer in a tables match. It was a pretty good opener. EC3 wins. Next, we got Austin Aries versus Chris Sabin in an escape match, which is pretty much a cage match that you have to escape from. So they could have just called it a cage match, whatever. Anyways, it was a good match. Aries wins. What else do we get? We had Samoa Joe versus Bobby Roode. Pretty good match. Roode won. This was to determine who got the advantage in the Lethal Lockdown match in the main event. Next, we had Lady Tapa versus Velvet Sky in a street fight match. This was okay at best. Tapa wins. Next, we had EY and Joseph Park versus Bad Influence and in a Full Metal Mayhem match. Good match. Park and EY win. I want to talk about some stuff actually with Bad Influence. There's actually been reported recently that Bad Influence's contract is set to expire very soon, and TNA might not resign them. They might run into the same situation where an AJ Styles, where it's like they want him to take less money and all that stuff, and you know, they might just pack their bags and leave, which I think would be a tremendous loss for that company. If I thought AJ Styles was a big loss for that company, Daniels and Kazarian would be like an equally big loss, even though they've both like left the company at one point. Like with AJ Styles, I think he's been with the company consecutively for like whatever amount of time he was with TNA. With Christopher Daniels and Kazarian, Kazarian was gone for one point. He went to WWE and then he came back in like 2006. And then Christopher Daniels, I believe he got released twice. He got released around the time when Hogan and Bischoff came in because they didn't like him or whatever. And then he ended up going to do some stuff in Ring of Honor. And then he ended up going back. So they have all left at one point. But if they leave now, I think that's definitely a big loss for the tag team division because they are one of, if not the best tag team that TNA has. They're constantly entertaining. And it'd just be a big loss, like, you know, losing more original talent that TNA had. And I want to talk about talent, actually. With TNA, you know, they've been signing a lot of new guys with Bobby Lashley and Tigre Uno and Sonata and a couple other guys that I don't remember. Angelina Love, Brittany, all these type of people. One thing I hope TNA doesn't run into is just signing too many people. That's a problem they've had in the past where it's like the roster's so big, there's a bunch of guys that don't get used. And then TNA was at a point a couple months ago, like leading up to Bound for Glory, where their roster was so small that they could have used a couple guys. And now they're signing a lot of guys, the Wolves, MVP, Lashley, Angelina Love, Brittany, the alpha female or whatever she's called. Just a lot of people, so I hope they don't run into the same issue where it's like, okay, they have a lot of people now, and they don't know what to do with them. So hopefully that doesn't happen with TNA, and they're getting better with using talent, so that's good. You know, they're starting to build up for like Kenny King's return, and who else? Willow and a couple other guys, Tigre Uno. So that's cool. We'll just have to see if they can keep it up, though. Anyways, continuing on with this show, we had Bully Ray versus Mr. Anderson, a last man standing match. Good match, Bully wins. One thing I really don't like about the Bully character, like, especially with this, was like, okay, he plays this emo character, and Bully Ray's always been the type of heel where it's like, he's a heel and a good heel, and he'll talk shit and whatever, and then he's a good heel, and like he acts goofy, and like he does the thing with Earl Hebner. And where he'll like talk shit to Earl Hebner and put him in the corner and just berate him, and then Hebner will pop out and just like poke him in the chest, and then Bully Ray will cower away and do goofy stuff like that, and it's really entertaining. I just don't think it fits very well with this whole emo gimmick. So I don't know. I didn't like that too much. But whatever, he won. And then the main event was Team Angle, Kurt Angle, Samoa Joe, James Storm, and Abyss versus Team Rude, Magnus, Bobby Roode, and Bromance in a lethal lockdown match. Good match. Team Angle wins. This was a decent little show. If you're looking to watch a TNA show, this would probably be a pretty good one to watch. Nothing too great. It was just a good little show. Next we got Raw. This was the return of Batista. And I guess we could talk about him a little bit. Damn, I've never seen people turn on him so fast. He went from being loved on the first night to like the Rumble, where he just got absolutely shit on by the fans, and people turned on him so quickly, and then because then fans realized like, oh shit, Batista's going to the main event, and he's gonna face Orton. That's terrible, blah blah blah, and the fans have turned on him so quickly. I think it's absolutely hilarious. Me personally, I wasn't really excited for Batista's return. I was excited in the sense of like, oh, I wonder what he's gonna do and whatever, and then when you find out that he wins the Rumble and stuff like that, it's like, oh my god, that's so bad, that's so fucking bad, and yeah, but I don't know, I used to be a big fan of Batista, and then I slowly didn't become, you know, I've talked about this before, his injuries, constantly being off TV. I started to care less and less until finally I just don't give a shit anymore. So that's where I'm at with Batista. So he came, yeah, he came, whatever, did his thing. He powerbombed Del Rio or whatever, and did some other stuff. So, yeah. Oh, what else happened on this show? We had nothing really else I want to talk about. Just more build up towards the Rumble with Big Show and Lesnar and the Authority and Punk and Cena and Orton and all this stuff. So, and Daniel Bryan and the Wyatts. So next we got NXT. Anything I want to talk about here? Not really. Nope. Okay, next is Impact, which is Genesis Part 2. And the only thing I think I really want to talk about is the... well, actually, two things. First, Bobby Roode versus Kurt Angle in a steel cage match. Good match. Really enjoyed this one. And the main event, Magnus versus Sting for the TNA World Title. Pretty good match. Magnus wins. So Sting is no longer a part of TNA. He is gone, which I'm excited about, because, like, I like Sting, but, like, he was just there too much. Like, he needs to be the Undertaker of TNA, come in once in a while, you're not there all the time, and yeah, that's what I wanted with Sting. But, if I had an option, whether, see him there all the time, or for him to go, I'd rather see him go. Just leave, I don't want to see you anymore. And now he is. So I think that's good. I think that's gonna help TNA. They're finally getting rid of all these dinosaurs, I like to call them. First with Hogan, and now Sting. And the thing with Sting is, like, he hasn't really been performing. Like, in the ring wise, his matches suck, honestly. And God, just go wrestle The Undertaker at WrestleMania next year, and then retire. Just go away. You'll make a lot of money off the WWE, returning for a match against Undertaker. Probably make a DVD about you, some stuff with the network. Get inducted into the Hall of Fame, and then bam, you're set. And then hopefully he doesn't come back to TNA after that. But yeah, I'd like to see him retire very soon. So, yeah, I believe he's signed by WWE, or he's under some type of deal, or they're working something out or something. I don't. That was the last thing I heard. Like, they were working out a deal. I don't know if he actually signed or whatever. But yeah, I'm hoping. Undertaker Sting match is looking very hopeful. Hopefully for next year. I apologize. That'd be good. I think the match might suck, just because I think Sting is terrible, and Undertaker needs someone good in the ring to be with him, because he's so beat up. And he's had that the past couple years with Shawn Michaels and Triple H, then Punk, and now he's going to have Lesnar, and it's going to be interesting to see a Sting Undertaker match, if it happens, and I hope it does. That'd be a great match. I think people would pay to see that, just that, and hopefully he doesn't. Just a couple things with Sting. Hopefully he doesn't wrestle with a shirt. I think that'd be stupid. And no stupid face paint, no Joker face paint. Just do the black and white and be that Sting that we know you as. Please and thank you. That's all I'd like to see. So yeah, that was TNA Genesis Part 2. Next we got Smackdown. More build up towards Royal Rumble. One thing I want to talk about, Bad News Barrett, he's actually hasn't appeared too much on these recent shows, and then he actually appeared on this Smackdown randomly in a match between Miz and Brodus Clay. The match was awful, and I think what's hilarious is he shit on this match the whole time. He's like, oh my god, it's Miz and Brodus Clay, this match is gonna suck. And he's just shitting on it the whole time. And it's hilarious, because the match ended up being really shit. So, that was a funny little moment on the show. Other than that, that's SmackDown. Next we got Ring of Honor. More top prospect tournament. We had Romantic Touch versus Andrew Everett. That was a pretty good match. Hansen. Oh, that's a guy that I think might actually win this tournament. I don't know who wins it, but he's got an impressive look. He just looks like a big, rugged, tough guy with a big beard, and like he's ready to beat the shit out of anybody. And I like that. I think it'd be an interesting thing with an addition to Ring of Honor, a guy who's bigger, because Ring of Honor doesn't really get those like giant guys. They get more like the wrestler types, and I haven't seen too much of Hansen to know if he's like a good wrestler or not, but he's got a good look, and I think it'd be interesting to see him do some stuff in Ring of Honor. So hopefully, he's definitely my pick to win. I'd like to see him, and hopefully even if he doesn't win, they use him anyways, because like I said, he's got a pretty good look, and I think he might be a decent little fit for Ring of Honor. He reminds me of like a big Necro Butcher kind of guy, like just really rugged and stuff. And the main event of this show was Tommaso Ciampa versus Silas Young for the Ring of Honor TV title. This was a good match. I enjoyed this. Tommaso won and retained his TV title. Next, I want to talk about the Royal Rumble card a little bit. Of course, it's already happened, but I kind of want to touch on the card just a little bit. So, of course, there's already there's 4 matches announced, well, 5 with the pre-show, which I'm actually very pissed about because I don't think this should be a pre-show match. The New Age Outlaws versus Cody Rhodes and Goldust for the tag titles. Going into this, I was like, okay, so it's on the pre-show, so Cody and Goldust are going to win. Otherwise, if it was a title change, they would put it on the main card, but they put it on the pre-show, and then they did a title change, and I was like, what? That's so retarded. And I think it would have been a decent little match for the show, especially since, like, Lesnar and Big Show, if I believe correctly, they didn't have a long match. It was just Lesnar beating the shit out of Big Show. And then Daniel Bryan and Bray Wyatt, I believe, was, like, the best match on the show, and Orton and Cena, people didn't give a shit about. And then you have the Royal Rumble, and people shit all over that because no Daniel Bryan. And yeah, I would have liked to seen the tag team title match on the card. But other than that, it doesn't look too good of a show. Going into it, Royal Rumble, I'm always excited to watch the Rumble, and that's about it. And that's what I did. I watched the Rumble. I watched it live. I didn't watch it live. I watched it like a couple hours later, and that was fucking horseshit. And then I heard on the card, the whole card was shit, and the only good thing was Daniel Bryan versus Bray Wyatt. We'll have to wait and see. I'll do my review next week, and we'll see if the whole Rumble show is a disaster or whatnot. But I know the Rumble match alone was, so yeah. Okay, so next we got a couple wrestling news tidbits. First, TNA has released Wes Briscoe and Jay Bradley. Jay Bradley I'm not too surprised about, just because, like, yeah, he won Gut Check and everything. Actually, they both won Gut Check, and they both got released, which is kind of funny. I think all the Gut Check people have been released except for Sam Shaw. He's the survivor, you know, and yeah, he's the only one. Jay Bradley, Lady Tapa, I believe I read just recently left, so yeah, that's gonna be it's interesting. But anyway, so Jay Bradley's gone. Not a real big surprise. I think he's an underrated talent. I've heard good things about him when he was in OVW, WWE's developmental system. I always heard good things about him, so I wanted to, see what he could do in TNA. They never really gave him a push. I always thought he'd be like a good guy for like a TV title division, but since they killed that belt, they should have brought it back. Do a tournament, him and a couple other guys, and I thought it would have been good. And then Wes Briscoe, not too surprised. I always thought he was pretty shit. And, after the whole Aces and Eights angle, I thought him and Garrett were going to team up, but they didn't end up doing that. I'm interested to see what's going to happen with Garrett, if he's still a part of the company or whatever. I know, like, I just watched a YouTube video on TNA's YouTube channel about Nux. So apparently they're still keeping him, and they're actually going to be involving him in a storyline, which is pretty interesting because he's another guy that I've heard a lot of good stuff about, that he's really underrated and decent little wrestler. So hopefully they can use him a little bit. But yeah, sad to see Jay Bradley, Wes Briscoe not so much, and yeah, not a big loss, but yeah, they're gone. What else do we got? Oh, there was a crazy story about Ted DiBiase's son, Mike DiBiase. He was apparently arrested in Texas after a 12-hour standoff with the police. Apparently he was like on drugs or some shit. I don't know. He's having obviously some tough issues. And yeah, he's 36. He's arrested. And I don't know what he was arrested on. Well, he's obviously arrested for like getting in a... Okay, I'm reading something here. It says he violated his warrant or whatever. But whatever, that was a crazy little story I remember reading. And hopefully everything's working out with him. And the other, last but not least, wrestling news-wise, is Sin Cara, the original Sin Cara, has confirmed his release from the WWE and has claimed that he owns the gimmick rights to the Sin Cara character, and he can go use that wherever he wants. I don't think that's true. If I know WWE, they got a good legal team, and I'm pretty sure they own the rights to that whole gimmick. I don't know, I read something like they killed the character off, like Del Rio ripped off the mask on Hunico or something. I don't know, we'll have to wait and see, but I'm pretty sure WWE owns the gimmick. But enough about that. This whole Sin Cara character has been like a rock. It's been downhill ever since it was announced. They had high hopes for this guy, and the reason this failed is because they signed him because he was such a big name in Mexico, and they threw him right on TV. Usually what they do with guys when they sign them, they take them, they throw them in developmental, they teach them their way of wrestling and their style and all that kind of stuff, and then they eventually get called up to TV. They didn't do that with this guy, so he came in with his Mexican luchador stuff, and it really boned him. You know, he was very sloppy on stuff that he did, and apparently had just a shit ton of backstage heat. I'm surprised he actually lasted that long, that they didn't release him earlier with all the, like, it was constantly happening. Like, he's the current, he's what Ryback is now, like, with all the reports that he's got so much heat, whatever, that's what Sin Cara was. And, yeah, I'm surprised he lasted that long with apparently that much amount of heat. And it should be interesting to see what's in the future for Sin Cara, the character. Mystico is probably going to go back to Mexico and wrestle there and make a shit ton of money, and he'll be happily ever after. But this is definitely one hell of a disaster that WWE could have avoided if they brought him to developmental. And this is kind of why they don't just sign guys and put them on TV, because that's that TV time is valuable, and if he's not ready for it, then it just makes them look stupid as shit. So that's about it. So that's going to be it for the weekly wrestling review. I hope you guys enjoyed. This is a shorter one just because there was really nothing to talk about, and all the stuff's like pretty old. So it's like, who cares? I mean, maybe some people want to get my opinions on some stuff. That's cool, but yeah, that's about it. So I want to thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. Catch us next time where we're going to have reviews for the Royal Rumble, 2 weeks worth of Raw, Smackdown, Impact, NXT, and Ring of Honor. I don't know if there are any more TNA One Night Only pay-per-views or Ring of Honor pay-per-views. I'll check. So they might be included in there too, but we're definitely going to be reviewing the Royal Rumble. So yeah, that's about it. So catch us next time, guys. Until then, peace out.